Hey, good evening everybody. Tonight I'm going to cook 2 pork tenderloins. I've rubbed both of them with Jamie's Gourmet Greek Rub. I've also wrapped one in a bacon blanket, and I'm going to make some roasted potatoes. I'll cook it on my REC TEC. I'll shoot for 325. I'll set the REC TEC 350, 345 because the grate temperature is always a little lower than the probe says. There's the tenderloin with the Greek Rub wrapped in bacon. There's the tenderloin that's going to be by itself. I had 1 piece of bacon left over. And then we got some roasting potatoes. Got them in a whole pan. I'm going to put them on the grill at the same time. I've got the pork tenderloins on the REC TEC mat. Got the potatoes in the dish. I put the pork on the mat not to destroy the bacon when I take it off the grill. I don't know how long this is going to take, but I'll cook it till that pork hits 138 degrees. Since I don't know how long the pork's going to take, I'm just going to satisfy my own curiosity. I got my ThermoWorks time stack. It also is a count up timer as well as a count down. So I'm just going to hit the start button. It'll start counting up, and when that pork hits 138 degrees, that's when I'll take it off. For solid pieces of pork, trichinosis is killed at 135 degrees. So pork cooked to 140 is very safe to eat. So I'm going to cook my pork to 138 and I'll let it rest. That carryover temperature will let it get to 140. But even at 138 for any length of time, it has killed the bad bacteria. Ground pork, on the other hand, that really needs to go to 160. I'm going to cook 2 turkeys for Thanksgiving this year. I'm going to cook one in my Charbroil Big Easy SRG smoker roaster grill. And I'm going to smoke one on my REC TEC. Not everybody likes smoked food, so I'm going to have both. And I've done it before with turkeys. I'll cook my turkey till the breast is 156 to 158. I'll take it off and I'll let it rest up to 2 hours. Follow Gordon Ramsay's advice, which he rests his turkeys anywhere over 1 to 2 hours. And they come out really good. And I left a temperature probe in it the last time, and that turkey never went below 145, 143. I was after a 2-hour rest. So if you're really worried about logistics with your Thanksgiving dinner, get the turkey done first. That thing can hang out for 2 hours while you get everything else ready. All right, the naked pork tenderloin, which was the smaller of the 2, was done at about 30 minutes at 325, along with the extra piece of bacon. Tenderloin wrapped in bacon is still on the grill, and that's at about 110 degrees right now. All right, that first pork tenderloin's been resting about 5 minutes and it smells really good. The second pork tenderloin, the bigger one wrapped in bacon, the internal temperature hit 120. I went up there and I jacked up the grill on that REC TEC to 400 so I can start crisping up the bacon. The first pork tenderloin I took off at 138 degrees. It's been resting 10 minutes and it's down to 135, so it hasn't dropped much. This is the pork loin wrapped in bacon. It hit 138. I took it off. I'd like the bacon to be a little more crisp. I'm going to tent it and see what happens. Okay, the first pork roast, that's been resting for 36 minutes because that one was done first. And it's like it's around 120 degrees. I'm going to let that cool off. I'll slice that up. That'll be my lunch for the rest of the week. The pork tenderloin that's wrapped in the bacon, I cooked that for about 30 minutes at 325, 340. And then I jacked the temperature up to 400 for about 15 minutes. I think that thing cooked a total of 53 minutes. The internal temperature was 138, 139 when I pulled it off. And it's rested now for 17 minutes. And that internal temperature peaked at 147. And food safety says 145. And right now all those juices are sucking back into that pork loin. That's going to be really good. The potatoes, I've left them on the grill at about 400 to finish roasting, and they've probably been on there the 18 or 20 minutes that I've taken this pork loin off to let it rest. The temperature, internal temperature has peaked at 147 point something, and now it's on its way down. This is the pork roast now down to 115 degrees. This is the first one I took off. This one's been resting about 43 minutes. Look at that, that looks nice. That looks very good. This pork roast actually hit 143 degrees. So even though it looks pink, it is still properly cooked. It's a good look. That's a good looking piece of tenderloin. This was a smaller one. This is the bacon wrap. It's woven. I may next time pre-cook the bacon just a little bit because the bacon is still kind of soft. The bacon's done. It's just not crispy like I was hoping it would be. So let's cut this in half and see what we got. Now this pork loin rested for 27 minutes. I took it off at 138. It hit 147. And look at that. 147 is way above the safe zone. Remember, 135 gets rid of the trichinosis. I cooked these to 138 and it rested for 28 minutes. It hit 147 high, and look at that. Boy, that's going to be very good. The bacon is a little underdone. I would pre-cook the bacon next time just a little bit because the bacon is kind of soft. The outside pieces look pretty good, but the ones that are woven inside, they're still a little soft. That is really good. That is so tender and tasty. I approve. You know, you might be saying to yourself, oh, that pork looks undercooked. But you know what? You saw it. The internal temperature of this pork hit 147. So there's no way that this pork is undercooked. The bacon might be a little undercooked. I would agree with that. And like I said, I would modify how I do the bacon next time. I would pre-cook the bacon just to get some of the fat off it, and that way it crisps up. But that pork, taken off at 138, and it rested for 30 minutes. And that's a nice pork tenderloin. And you could do the same thing with a pork loin, whatever you'd like. That is so good. So even though the bacon really isn't done, it was quite the baster for the pork loin, because that pork loin is tender, it's flavorful, and I can't believe how well that came out. Like I said, next time I would pre-cook the bacon a little bit to crisp that up, because when I made the weave pattern where it was doubled up, it really didn't cook. But there are pieces of this bacon that did cook. I mean, you got this kind of stuff right here, which, you know, that's cooked bacon. There's a bunch of stuff in here that is cooked. I just got to trim it off. I forgot to show you the roasted potatoes. They cooked for an extra 25-30 minutes while the pork was resting. They came out really good. I took that undercooked bacon, I put it on the cooking mat, threw it back on the REC TEC, crisped that stuff right up. Nothing got wasted tonight. The pork loins came out delicious. The bacon, however, was undercooked. I think next time when I do this, either I'll look for a thinner bacon or I will pre-cook the bacon before I wrap it. I wouldn't cook the pork loins at a higher temperature because I cooked them at 325, 330, and I took them off the grill when they hit 138, and they still carry over cooked to 147. If I were to cook those pork loins because the bacon's on them and say 375 or 400 and still pulled them off at 138, the carryover cook temp would have went way high and really dried those out. So I'll adjust how I do the bacon. I'll either pre-cook the bacon, or I'll find a really thinner bacon, or I'll stretch the bacon to kind of thin it out. But the bacon on the pork tenderloin was absolutely delicious. And I'm sure on a full pork loin, that would be really good too. It basted that. And even though you saw that the pork was very pink, it was 147 degrees. Food safety says 145. So today was a learning experience, but it was very tasty. I recooked the bacon and I didn't waste anything. Well, I hope this helps you guys out. See you later.